Okay, so with this deck, I just threw in Winged Dragon of Ra into basically a Towers turbo deck, and I added a few extra things in, like a Tri-End Gas and an extract full of fusion monsters. That way I can easily gain 3,000 life points whenever I want, to either boost his attack or to activate his effect of actually, paying 1,000 life points to destroy your opponent's cards. And in my original version, I put in Spear mode, and I totally forgot that you can't special summon monsters that aren't Quill monsters, so I took that out real quick. So if you see that in one of the replays, it's because of that. And instead, I just replaced it with Slifer, and it works very well. The deck itself is very consistent because it's basically Towers Turbo. The entire thing was about getting out a monster that requires 3 tributes anyway, so instead I just substituted it for a monster that I can't search out, but I get them out in like almost every duel anyway. Because Winged Dragon of Ra and Slifer are the bad. They're not bad, they're just not as good as Obelisk, who's actually a decent card, and you can actually build a deck around it and play like a tier 2 or 3 deck with it. These two aren't in any tier 2 or 3 decks, but Obelisk is. And you get some nice advantage at the end of your turn if you use Monolith, because you get to draw a card for every monster for every Quill monster you tribute, and you're going to be tributing nothing but Quill monsters anyway. So if you bring out one of your god cards, you're going to be drawing 3 cards at the end of your turn, which is great because you can actually use Slifer, since one of his biggest downsides is actually having cards in your hand when you bring them out. And with this deck, that's never a problem. Slifer always has at least 3,000 attack, which is just PG, because his second effect of if your opponent summons any monster in attack mode, they lose 2,000 attack, and if it gets reduced to 0, they get destroyed, which is a lot of fun. Winged Dragon Raw is just for those big plays where you try to OTK them by having more than 8,000 attack and stuff like that.